Alright, hello, and welcome to the Lifeweaver tips, tricks, guide, controller binds, whatever you want to call it, video that I'll be doing. So first of all, this is Lifeweaver, we're in the practice range. I just wanted to help out my console friends and community with binding Lifeweaver's abilities and keybinds, because of course Blizzard has given this guy an absurd amount of abilities. He not only has a yoink, he has a dash, a petal or platform that can go up. You can also super jump, which I f***ed up. You can then also break this petal by pressing your interact key. You have a big ol' ultimate, and you can also switch between your weapon modes. So yeah, Lifeweaver has a lot of things you can do, so I'm going to get into each individual one now. So first of all, Lifeweaver has a dash, which heals you for 25 health when you dash. It dashes about 5 to 8 meters, somewhere in that range. Next up, his next ability, I will be dubbing the Yoink for this reason. It is an invulnerability bubble that pulls your allies to your current location. And no, the Yoink does not behave like a Roadhog hook, so if you yoink an enemy from this range, the enemy will land here, no matter if you move behind these boxes, no matter if you run over here, or if you even pedal platform up. If you pull the enemy while at your current location, that ally will land on the location you pulled them from. His next ability is the petal platform, which you can throw on the ground and you can effectively just leave it there. It is a pressure sensitive platform which only activates if someone applies pressure, aka steps on it, and it'll go up. Now the cool thing about the petal platform is it has 400 health and will stay up there for a duration of time. You will start to hear that beep beep beeping, and that's when it will come down. Now, as you can see, when you place the petal platform, the cooldown already commences. So you can effectively have two of these up at the same time. However, one must be broken before the other one can be activated. So for example, if I go on here, I can't throw it onto the actual pedal, but I can throw it onto the ground, and that will force the other one to break. So you can have two of them up, but you can't have two of them activated in the map at the same time. So with the pedal platform at the end, you can also get a big super jump if you time your jump correctly, which is very useful. Again, 400 health, so it can be broken. And one cool thing that you can do with the platform is, say you have a doorway here, you can throw it down, and because the platform will not reach the top of the doorway, otherwise it will crush your character, you can stand on it to activate it. There we go. You can stand on it, so throw it like close to the wall. But if you activate it like that, you can effectively just use it as a wall. And you can't get past it until it breaks, obviously, or the enemy breaks it. So that's a cool little tech you can do. It takes a little bit of practice. You do have to kind of throw it into a corner. And even then, it can be kind of finicky. You kind of want to get the center a little bit to the right so that it doesn't have a direct line of sight with that, so it gets blocked off. So for example, if I kind of throw it right here, it should, there we go, it blocks it off completely. So you can do a lot of cool tech with this character. Now let's get into his primary and secondary fire, or just pretty much his primary fire. So first of all, Lifeweaver kind of sucks at healing, and let me show you why. So you charge it up and it deals 65 healing per blossom. When you charge your little petals, you do get a slowed movement, so that's not the greatest thing for... You can't really charge peak like that. It is kind of slow, so that's not the greatest thing. One fully charged petal only takes up 1 ammo. It's not like Widow Shots where if you charge it up, it takes up more ammo. So that is a real helpful thing, and that is also helpful to know, because when I show you in a moment how to properly do the healing, you'll notice that we use all 12 shots but not fully charged. Then we have his other primary fire, which you can switch. He's much like Mercy, where you can switch between healing and damage, and his primary fire, I'm 99% sure, doesn't have fall off range, it just has increased spread. It feels very similar to, if anyone's ever played Halo, the Needler, and behaves very similar to it as well. wasn't a big fan of the Needler, but it's not insanely strong, but it does charge your ult quicker than the healing. Obviously, at the end of the day, you are going to be looking to maximize your healing output and your damage output as best as you can. Let's move on to his ultimate ability, which is the Tree of Life. When you put it up, it is a giant tree, quite literally. It has 1000 HP. You cannot destroy your own tree, much like you cannot destroy your own flower pads. The tree will burst initially when you put it up for 150 healing, and then every second from there, 50 healing, I'm pretty sure. Okay, now let's get into the actual juicy stuff here, which is the keybinds and how you're going to be wanting to bind your Lifeweaver abilities for console. So I'm going to start from the top and work my way down. So Lifeweaver, currently I've just got the default sensitivity because I'm pretty sure I'm not really going to want to fine tune my sensitivity. Find a sensitivity that works for you. Personally, I prefer a faster sensitivity. And if you want a sensitivity guide, I can go into that. But this will be a hero guide, so I'm not going to really discuss sensitivity or any of the advanced settings that I use. For the crosshair, I'm most likely going to end up switching off of the actual crosshair to a circular crosshair, just to match his spread patterns a little bit better. But other than that, that is also up to you, personal preference. Now, this goes for every hero in the game. Make sure you have allied health bars turned on. If you don't have it turned on by default, go to your default setting and turn those on. Show friendly outlines should also be turned on. Toggle primary fire, keep off, because honestly, toggling your primary fire for healing like Lifeweavers or Kiriko's is just not good. I don't know how you can cancel your primary fire, so actually let me check that. Okay, so honestly, I have spent like a little bit just testing this secondary fire cancels primary fire. Lifeweaver doesn't have a secondary fire, he has 2 weapons, so I don't know what this setting does, so I'm just going to leave it on. If I figure out what it does in my play testing, I will be sure to put in a note here, but I don't think it does anything. Now, your healing blossom and life grip sensitivity, you want to keep it max, and I'm going to show you why. His healing looks like this, and at 100 sensitivity, it will lock on from there, right? And you can put it up like that, and it will lock on from any distance. And the same with your life grip, right? Because they have the same sensitivity. So as long as you can see that little triangle on the ally, your healing will connect, okay? Now, this is useful to have it on 100 sensitivity because somehow you can actually heal over a Reinhardt shield or a Sigma shield if it's placed low enough. So it is really useful to keep your sensitivity at 100. Okay, let's get into the actual binds here. So I have toggle crouch, and this goes for all console players. I would recommend putting your crouch on R3. That just means that you can move around and you don't have, and you can still look while crouching. You can aim, you can track, you can do anything you want while crouching. Yes, it's a little bit jittery, but that's just the limitations of console. We play with a controller, not with a mouse and keyboard. So, which is something Blizzard has apparently forgotten when giving this character 4 abilities. Now, before I move on, I did just remember, because yes, he has more abilities, because if you really thought that Lifeweaver was already had a lot, when you kill him, he drops a petal. And this petal can be picked up and it'll heal your allies and enemies. It heals enemies for less, but anyone can pick that petal up. So yeah, very fun. So first of all, ability 1 I've left on default. Now your ability 1 is your dash, right? So ability 1 I have set to L1, right? This just means that I can dash. It just feels natural to me to use L1 to dash. Again, this is only what feels good for me. If something feels better for you, you change it up. This is just a rough guide to help anyone who's struggling with their keybinds. The Yoink, which is what I dubbed the grasp ability, I have bound to L2. It just feels a little bit more natural to me to be able to shoot and then pull someone with L2. It just feels intuitive to be able to grab people. You can dash, grab, and then walk away. The really dumb thing that you have to remember with grab, you cannot hold the grab button down, right? So you can't do the same thing that you can do with Kiriko TP, where you can spam, where you can kind of just look around to TP while holding down your teleport button. You actually have to click this button to pull someone. Now, ultimate, I have bound to triangle because that's just the default and I've gotten used to that. And interact, I actually have bound on up on D-pad, right? So my interact is bound on up on D-pad. Now you're gonna see the reason for that is because we have ran out of buttons on the right side of the controller. We have ran out of buttons on the R1 and R2, L1 and L2. R3 is crouch, and then I use push to talk in my games just so that I don't have to constantly have my mic on, and that's on L3. So the only buttons that I have left are my D-pad, which is a little bit of an issue because on my D-pad I have my interface wheel. I have my ping bound to left on D-pad. This one's down on D-pad. So that only leaves up on D-pad, which normally, for any character with a reasonable amount of abilities... No, not Mercy. That's the one other character I have it bound on sprays. But for Lifeweaver and... Well, this is an issue. Okay, there we go. For Lifeweaver and Mercy, you gotta have it on interact, because otherwise you don't have an interact key. Because right on D-pad is my switch weapons key. Now, some people might be like, how are you supposed to switch weapons without like standing still, clicking left? Because if your movement key is left stick, it's kind of difficult to switch while moving. Now, you can adopt two ways. You can either claw, which is where you bring your index finger off of R1 and down onto the right on D-pad, so that while you're moving with your thumb, you use your index finger to switch. To me, this feels unnatural as hell, but it is a viable way of playing console. But to me, what feels the most natural is just having my thumb at a slight angle on the stick and just using the side of my thumb to click the switch key while moving. Now, obviously, if you have thumbsticks, this is a lot easier. However, if that thumbstick is broken like mine, it takes a lot more finesse because I need to keep it on. But otherwise, this just feels natural to me having it, my switch weapon on right on D-pad, because it is similar to the my Mercy binds. So I do hope this has helped anyone who is struggling with their binds. I will just quickly show you them, just in case you are confused. So here we have Ability 1 bound to... That's my default. Hang on, that's not Lifeweaver. Here we go. Okay, so Ability 1 bound to L1. Ability 2 bound to L2. Ultimate bound to triangle. Interact bound to up on D-pad. Primary fire bound to R2. Secondary fire bound to R1. Quick melee bound to circle. Reload bound to square. And then next weapon bound to right on D-pad. And also, real quickly, I have just figured out what secondary fire cancels primary fire is. He does indeed have a secondary fire, which I have bound to R1, so my petal platform. So yeah, now, make sure to turn that off. Okay, I have to put this in. Turn secondary fire cancels primary fire off, because to have the ability to hold this, throw a petal platform, and then release is a lot stronger. Right, and a lot better for you. So please do in fact turn this off. It doesn't affect your gameplay at all. It just makes it more fluent that if you are trying to heal someone and you throw a petal platform, you can still keep healing that player. Now let's get into the nuances of Lifeweaver. So I have showed you that you can do the super jump. It's actually kind of finicky. And I've showed you that you can do... I really screwed that one up. But you can block doorways with the pedal platform as well. So the best way that I could possibly, from right here, think about healing with Lifeweaver is not to fully charge anyone unless this is post-fight and your allies need heal, just a full top-up. So say you've already won the team fight, everyone's low, and you just do big bursts of healing, right? That's fine. But in the mid-fight, I will recommend only charging your healing up to about 40 to 45%, because you can quickly heal people up and just keep them topped up. Leave it to your other support to do majority of the healing. Oh my ping. Okay, I'm just gonna stop spamming for a second. Alright, we good? Have we stopped chucking a hissy fit, internet? Okay, so again, keep it charged to... Oh, no, apparently it ain't over. I'm gonna just keep going and hopefully it calms down. So keep it at about 40 healing, and again, once the fight is over, or if you have the time in the mid fight, charge it to full. Remember, it does slow you when you charge, so it's not ideal. So the big thing that I can recommend is don't constantly try to heal 65 big bursts, because it will just be way too slow for the mid fight. Now, once you run out of healing, say I've just hit 12, switch to your primary fire or your damage and shoot until you run out. Switch back to healing, because it does auto reload while you are off of your alternate fire, which is really nice. So again, 40 to 45 healing. My internet's losing its shit. Charge your ult, use your ult, which can also be used to block doorways. And yeah, that's kind of how I would that's basically how I am going to be trying to play Lifeweaver. Just mini heals at the end of the fight, big heals. God, maybe I'll try and fix my internet while I'm at this. But yeah, I will test it in game, and I'll also cover the patch. I think I'm gonna have to just go restart at the moment because everything is lagging. Like you cannot hold your charge at 36 like it's saying right now. So yeah, I'm gonna quickly go and fix whatever the hell's happening. My internet's about to skyrocket into the thousands. So I really hope this Lifeweaver tips and tricks has been useful. I actually did want to cover a little bit more, but apparently my internet's not gonna let me. So yeah, if any other questions, leave them in the comments. I will be happy to answer. Yeah, I think I've covered just about everything. There are a few nuances that I can get into about positioning, but I might just get into that when I do the gameplay. So yeah, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.